Hello, seventh grade. I have enjoyed getting some of your responses for our last activity, looking at the fish wars, and just learning how history is shaped by words and how we portray it rather than how it actually was. History has a million different perspectives, but we tend to only learn about one of those perspectives. Today, I wanted to focus on the Dawes Act. We've been learning a lot about Native American history in Washington state, and the Dawes Act had a big part of American history with Native Americans in general. So, Senator Dawes was a man who wanted to create a plan to fix what at the time was called the Indian problem. We have a problem and we need to fix it. What are we going to do with all of these Indians to fix them being there and in the way for white settlers? This political cartoon shows a lot of that in that this is Senator Dawes eating up Indian lands. At the time, it was really portrayed as this great way to help save the Native Americans, but really a lot of it was about getting more land. As some of you guys saw on our image analysis from a little while ago. You also saw that the land that was promised to many Native American tribes started being cut down. So both of these images are from territory in Oklahoma, and all of this in this first map in 1885, all of that was supposed to be Native American territory. However, just 6 years later, it had been cut down. So this red mark is the second map, and now this is all that's set aside for Native American lands. And you can see how it was like, okay, we want this much land, but we're making a tree. You guys can keep all of this. And then Senator Dawes came back later and was like, actually, we have a new plan. And we want to take this land, but you guys can keep this land now. And it's just getting smaller and smaller. In this next one, here's another image that shows you something very similar, but over a longer period of time. So we have 1850, and all of the West was really Native American land. And then you have by 1865, California, Washington, all the coast had been taken over by white settlers, and a little bit in between. So you see it being cut down. By 1880, extremely cut down, because this is when you have the Dawes Act put in effect. It cuts down all of that land so that white settlers can move in. And the argument was that now, instead of tribes owning a big piece of territory, individual families will own different pieces of Native American land. So a man and his wife and their kids would get a plot of land. End of story. And this man and his wife and kids would get a plot of land, and they had to put in and ask for it, and it would be assigned to them, but then it was by families instead of by tribes. Now, many people saw this as a great thing because it was a way to assimilate them, right? Native American tribes rove about, but if we make it family-based, it'll help them become more like European culture, where we own territory and we live just in families instead of in big groups. So this left it open. Indian land for sale. Come get it. So it divided it out primarily to allow other settlers to come in. This also really broke up a lot of traditions, because now you had people given a specific area to live, and now instead of living in teepees or traditional homes, they have to switch the way they're living. And then within the Dawes Act, there was this idea that, you know what, if we're fully going to assimilate these people, we have to have Native American boarding schools. A couple of you did your presentations on these schools, and really the entire point was to take, and you guys should recognize this picture, was to take Native American children, put them in these schools, and this is the student body of an entire school in the upper left-hand corner. And the bottom, you see the loss of culture there. So it wasn't just teaching to read and write. Students would also have to choose a new name. They'd have to choose a Christian name. They would have to cut their hair, change their clothes, and they were punished if they were caught practicing any of their traditions, speaking their original language or any religious worship. They had to change to Christianity. They had to change their name, and it was thought this will help them, right? This will make them fit in our culture. And the public accepted this. Like, it was very accepted that, you know what, we need to be strong with these people in order to get them to assimilate correctly. So at the time, assimilation was the goal. Today, we view assimilation as a terrible thing. So I have attached a couple of clips for you guys to watch from a movie that I love that helps portray this, and an activity for you guys to do. Let me know if you have questions.